episode 2. We are here in Anchorage, Alaska, in the Tinfoil Camper. I'm Nick, he's
Caleb,
and we are pumped to be here. Welcome to episode 2 of the Tinfoil Kingdom. So, I think I want to touch something about last time we got to hear your awesome story and your journey. I think we should just put it out there to everybody, like, we are sharing our opinions,
yes,
our thoughts, our questions, concerns. Like, we're probably going to get something wrong.
Yeah, it's our journey. We've messed up, both of us, independently, on our own ideologies, decisions, everything. Yeah. We are not perfect.
Yeah.
Just like you.
Just like you. So, give us grace and understanding as we work through this stuff. Like, we're going to be trying to figure this out and work through it, like, in real time. Like, ask tough questions. You know, we don't know or pretend to know everything. We're just talking about it. So, you know, as we go through it, we might say something that's wrong, but, you know, we'll try and understand that and correct it. And so if you do drop a comment in, like, we appreciate it. And, like, we will work to just do the best job that we can as we try and navigate, you know, some of the weird stuff in life. Yeah. So,
and even on that, I would throw in that if we get something wrong and you want to challenge us on that, by all means do so, but do so through a biblical lens. I do not care about your doctrinal creed or your traditional whatever. If whatever we say just strikes a nerve with that, then we can disagree about that, and that's fine. But if it strikes against something that's actually in the Bible, that's where I will change my opinion. I will go back from whatever I've said, because the Bible. This is not the Bible. I'm trying to point to something, but we don't have one out here. We should.
We could do. We could pull up logos.
Yeah.
Shout out to logos, by the way.
But it run things through the Bible, ideologies, things, stuff that we say. If it runs through the Bible from point A to point B, then you have to do one of two things. You have to either believe it and figure it out, or just say you don't like it and reject it. And that's where I'm at. As far as the whole doctrinal creeds and all the other stuff, they all have their place. They're all great, like little bumpers on a bowling alley. But the Bible is the end-all, be-all source of truth. So if what we say goes against what the Bible says, call us out. That's your job as, I almost said a Berean. But it kind of is a Berean, to study stuff out. Yeah, study it out. And even with them, what did they study? This is an entirely different thing, but what did they study? They searched the scriptures daily, whether it was so. They did not study church tradition and ideologies and what did the Pharisees say and the Sadducees say. No. They studied the scriptures to see if they were so. So I would challenge you, that's exactly what we're trying to do, study the scriptures and see if this stuff is so. If it is, and that's where we're finding that it is so, much of what we're talking about is fantastic. And it's out of the box, and it's interesting. So anyway.
Challenge accepted. I think it's, I would just say also, like, we are not out to bash any tradition, any denomination. We are all brothers and sisters in Christ. And I think it's important just to note, like, even if you do disagree with anything that we're saying, like, we can disagree respectfully and out of love and be here to strengthen each other, right?
Absolutely.
I'm reminded of Proverbs 27, iron sharpens iron, right? We're here to build each other up, to advance the kingdom, to build the kingdom together, to become better citizens of the kingdom of God. And, like, we could do that in a loving, respectful, compassionate way. We are not out to put down anyone, any religion, any tradition. My bad. Any tradition. Like, we are all brothers and sisters. Right. And so we will talk with grace, and we ask that you just do the same for us. If you want to give us a thumbs up, smash that sub button, and I think we'll just share a little bit about, like, where I'm coming from.
Yeah, we heard from you last time.
Yeah, so I would just say that, like, for me, start all the way at the beginning, right? And
It's a very good place to start.
I probably will keep the denomination to myself, but I grew up in a very Pentecostal tradition, and that had a bigger impact on me than I realized. And it wasn't until I got much older, early 30s, that I realized, like, wow, this was kind of a big deal in shaping how I believe things. And I don't have like a specific point in time that I could look back to and be like, this is when I got saved. I was here in this place with these people. I just knew I was like 5 or 6, somewhere around there, right? Like we grew up. My parents were always trying to do the best thing for us. They were trying their hardest. I wasn't living their life, so I'm trying to understand. They were just doing what they thought was best for us, and I am grateful for that and thankful for that. So we were at church every Sunday. We were in church Wednesday nights. We had a Royal Ranger program. Probably just outed my denomination. Shout out there. So we did that. We were there. We were actively engaged all the time at church, and they also sent us to a private Christian school, non-denominational school, and so it was just like constant, just total saturation of Christianness, Bible stuff, just all the time. And so that's the environment that I grew up in, and it's great. I appreciate my parents sending us to a private school. We did get a good education. We got to interact with people of different traditions and denominations, and so as I was growing up, I had a similar feeling like you did. Like it was more of, how do I keep myself from going to hell? Like I don't want to go there. Right. So how do we, like, instead of looking at Jesus, it was more like, let's avoid hell. And I was like, okay. And it always, like, to me, it was always like, God is waiting for you to screw up. And once you screw up, he's like, gotcha. Yep. And I'm not bashing anybody. I'm just sharing, like, that's how I understood what it meant to believe in God. Like, God was an angry judge, just waiting for you to mess up. And, like, I didn't understand grace. I mean, we still struggle with understanding grace, but, like, I didn't understand the love of a father in terms of my heavenly Father. And, like, I had identity was my big problem. It's like, okay, we believe in God because that's what we do. Yeah. And, like, but I didn't make it wasn't who I was. And I didn't know who I was. I was very confused as a kid. I grew up, I was overweight as a kid. I was really shy, really quiet, very insecure, very reserved. I kept to myself. I wouldn't talk to really anybody. And, like, I was always self-conscious. And so I struggled with my identity on multiple dimensions. And so as I started getting older, I got baptized when I was like 13, 14, somewhere in there, in one of our members' pool in their backyard. But even then, it was like, this is what you do. Yeah. It was like, okay, you're old enough now you get baptized. And I was like, okay. And I was just like, all right. And it didn't mean anything to me at the time. It was just like, this is what you do now. Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool, great. And then as I'm getting older, started going to, like, youth group, and we'd have youth conferences, like, through the denomination. So I'm going to these things, middle school, and I remember being able to speak in tongues was a huge emphasis.
Okay.
And to the point where, as I understand, and it was my understanding then, like, you are not fully saved until you can speak in tongues.
Like you don't have the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like yes, you may have accepted Jesus into your heart, but you're not really a Christian until you can speak in tongues. Now, whole other episode right there, speaking in tongues. But I digress. Yeah, so, and I remember it just all the time. It just happened all the time. And it'd be like, people would be like, blah, 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 in church, and be like, what is happening right now? You know? The waving flags around, I don't know. So, it was confusing as a kid. And then, but it was so driven into, like, the understanding of what it meant to be a Christian that, like, you had to do this thing. And I remember I was at a youth conference, and they were like, at the end, there's like this altar call and baptism of the Holy Spirit, and like everybody's doing it, and like you got like kids around you, they're all like shama blah blah blah, and I'm like, all right, well I guess I got to do it too. And I'm sitting there praying like, God, you know, give me your Spirit, like I want to speak in tongues. And then I heard other people be like, just open your mouth and it'll come out. And I'm like, and nothing's happening, and I'm confused by that, and I'm insecure about it. I'm like, well, wait, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. Like, does God not love me? Or am I not in the... And so where I was left was a place of like, I don't understand what's happening, but I want to be included. And if I don't, then I'm not a Christian and I'm going to get rejected. And so what I did was I lied about it. And I said, yeah, I can speak in tongues. Because it sounded to me like you could just make up whatever you want. Now, I'm not going down that rabbit hole, but that's when I was in middle school, teenager, like that's what it sounded like. It sounded like you could just make up sounds. Yeah. And that was speaking in tongues. So that's what I did. And I went back, I told my parents like, yeah, I got baptized in the Spirit. And they were all excited because I didn't want to be rejected by my own community. And like, this was my understanding of Christianity. And so as I'm growing up, then I started playing music. I started on bass guitar, and then I went to acoustic guitar, and then I started playing electric guitar. And so now I'm playing Sunday mornings on our worship team. Then I started playing at school. So now I'm doing worship at school, at church. I got picked up by another church in the same denomination, different town. I got hired on to do worship at their church. So now I'm doing it all the time. Yeah. And I'm a teenage kid. I'm in high school. Yeah. Like this, it's too much. It was too much for me to handle. And just like you were talking about, I got burnt out, right? Yeah. I got totally burnt out, and I made some poor decisions, and like I couldn't handle it anymore. And I'm like, this is too much for a kid. I got people, you know, in my life saying, hey, you're supposed to do this with your life. Like I was told, you're supposed to be a youth pastor. Oh, yeah. Now, this is God's calling for your life. Again, I'm not shooting anybody down, but like, this is what was being told. And inside of me, I'm like, I don't feel that. Yeah. They're like, this is God's calling for your life. I don't think so. And you know who told me not to be a youth pastor? Was my youth pastor. He was like, Nick, I don't think this is for you. Kudos to him. Yeah. And he is one of my dearest friends, Toby. If you're watching this, I love you, man. He's one of my dearest friends still to today. And I will never forget that, because he's like, you don't have, like, it's okay. You don't have to do this. Like, I was like, oh, I don't have to do this. And it's not like I don't have to do it, like you don't have to follow God, but like, it's that personal connection that I was missing to God. Like, oh, I don't have to do what other people are telling me to do. And so that's where I got caught up in like the tradition of the church. And so anyway, it all kind of fell apart for me, faith wise. Like I on the outside, I was like the prime time example Christian kid until it all came crashing down because it was built on a house of cards. It was nothing. There's no substance there. It was just like, I'm doing all the things that look like you're a really good Christian kid. And so after I graduated high school, my Christian bubble burst.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I realized I had no actual foundation. Like, yeah, I could do a Bible drill. Like, I can open my Bible really fast and find,
sword drill.
Yeah, sword drill.
Yeah,
Thank
there
you.
Go.
I could do a sword drill. Like, I could tell you, this verse and that verse. I had I went through Christian school, K through 12, and I had such a surface level understanding of the Bible. It's laughable. And again, nothing against the school or anything. It's just like, that was my experience. And like, I found out I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just head knowledge, and there's no substance to it. Not once in school did we talk about like giants or like Nephilim or sons of God, or never talked about it. And it was just like really stripped down. And so once I went to college, like I went to a non-Christian college. I went to a state University of Connecticut, and like I just like the world opened up to me in a different way. And I was like, hey, there's all this other stuff out here.
Yeah.
And I wasn't prepared for it. I wasn't ready. And I went into that being like resentful and angry and bitter and lost and confused because I didn't know what it meant to believe in God. I didn't have that understanding. And I blamed God for the faults of human beings.
Okay.
Because of my experience, this is human being stuff. I'm like, I had a problem with humans and our flawed depravity, but I was blaming God, and I took it out on God and was like, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't want anything to do with this. I had a bad experience. Like, I'm not interested in this because it couldn't answer the questions that I had. Yeah. And no one seemed, and then I got shunned for even asking the questions. It's like, well, yeah, but like, why do we do this thing? Or why do we believe this? Or why is it like this? And there were no answers. It was just like, yeah, don't ask that. Just
shut up and color.
Yeah. Yeah, shut up and color. Like, you had to fit in this cookie cutter, like, example or this thing of like what it looked like to be a Christian. And I'm like, I don't fit in your box. So I struggled with that for so long, and I just didn't think it existed. So I walked away from church, from God, for a long time, 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm good. I don't want anything to do with this. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll get there on my own. And that brought me down. Like, but I still had this hunger for the supernatural or the spiritual, right? Yeah. And then I started wandering down this new age path of like, I'm spiritual, not religious. And I was what a joke. And, because I'm looking for these answers, I'm trying to find them. But, luckily I didn't go too far into the weeds. I just would be like, well, I'm trying to connect to, like, I'm trying to understand supernaturalism. Like, I'm trying to understand what this is. And like, I never had conversation with like entities or beings or things like that.
I just like and stuff.
No. It was just starting to be like, well, this is interesting, but I don't know how. It still seems kind of weird, like crystals and stuff. I'm like, this is wacky, man. I'm like, it's a little rock. I'm good. So I never like got that far down the path, but it was appealing to me. Is like at least giving some kind of an answer for supernaturalism. And but then, man, God just hit me a couple years ago, and it was like I just had this overwhelming sense that I needed to go to church again. And because I was getting frustrated, I'm like, why? Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need help. And I didn't know where to go. And then I was like, maybe go to church again. But I was so bitter
Mm-hmm.
and was like angry that I was so judgmental of churches.
Yeah.
And it's still something that I struggle with a little bit, but I'm way less. And so I never even wanted to go. I'm like, no, I'm all set. I don't want anything to do with the church. And but anyway, I met someone who went to the church I go to now, Awaken,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was like, all right. One Sunday I just went, and man, the Holy Spirit hit me like a bag of bricks when I was there,
Mm-hmm.
and for the first time in my life, I was like, I can call this place home.
Yeah.
And I remember they played the song "Another in the Fire," and I just broke down. I started crying. I was like, "What is happening right now?"
Mm-hmm.
And since then, like, that has been the church that I've been going to, and it's become my family, and it's just like such an awesome community. And like, God knew I needed to be there in that time, and so I started going more regularly. And I was like, maybe there's something different. Like, maybe my experience isn't really what Christianity is.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, huh. And I woke up to this. I'm like, okay, maybe it was me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I didn't really have a relationship with God, or maybe I didn't understand God. And so I started getting plugged in the church more, and then I wanted to go to a small group, and this was 3 years ago,
Okay.
something like that. And so I looked up the small groups, and they run them in the winter, and the one that was for my age bracket
Mm-hmm.
was at my friend Brian's house. What's up, Brian? You might be watching this, but yeah, Brian. There was at Brian's house, and we were going through Psalms.
Okay.
And I was coming into like the second part. The year prior, they did the first third of Psalms, and then this was the second third of Psalms. And I was like, I don't really want to go through Psalms. Mm-hmm. I was like, not interested in it. And I was like, but I want to do a small group. I'm just going to try it. And so I did. And lo and behold, I stumbled across Psalm 82. And that was
like independently.
That was where, yep. And we had this workbook,
mm-hmm.
and it was going through the Psalms, and we'd read a couple Psalms, and then it'd have questions, and work through it. And I read Psalm 82, and I was like, who in the world are the sons of God? And it totally opened up everything for me. And mm-hmm. I read it, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And so then when I answered the questions, we came back, and we met, and I was like, I remember asking, I was like, what do you guys think this is?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Brian was like, you should check out this book, The Unseen Realm. Mm. And so I wrote it down. I got the book, started reading it, and just everything opened up for me. And looking back at all the things that God brought me through, to be like, not really understanding what I believed or why I believed, and when I started to have a supernatural worldview of the Bible, like, the questions that I've had for years started to get answered.
Yeah.
And I started to understand how the bigger story is unfolding. And like, it changed everything for me. And it was because, like, I went to that small group, and they just happened to be in Psalm, and we happened to read Psalm 82, and then I just totally took a deep dive mm-hmm. into the unseen realm, and like went down this huge rabbit hole. I got baptized again mm-hmm. Because I chose to, because I wanted to, because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And like, this was my sense of, showing my loyalty to Yahweh, God, mm-hmm. right? Like, I'm on His side, and that was a really powerful experience for me. That doesn't mean everything in my life was perfect from that point on, but like, I made that choice because I now understood what it meant to mm-hmm. believe in God and to have my own understanding of faith of what Jesus did for me, why he had to come here and die for us, like, and understanding the supernatural is very real. It's alive and it's interacting with us. Yeah, man, and completely, it completely 180'd my life. And that time that I spent away from God is like, I may have given up on him, but he never gave up on me.
Yeah.
And he was there the whole time. And, I broke his heart, I'm sure. And, he had to watch me make terrible decisions, but he still like chose to love me and still chose to be there and still chose to accept me back into his family. And dude, the prodigal son story, just like, it means so much to me because I identified with it so much. And if my story can help somebody that is grown up in a similar situation and be like, there is hope, there is grace, there's forgiveness, there is love. Like, God is there waiting patiently for us. But he's not only waiting patiently, he's pursuing us. He's actively coming after us. And like is right there. And so that's the place that I'm in now, is like, just I am open to what the Bible has. I'm excited to read my Bible. Like, I'm excited to study. All of these things have been here the whole time. Like, I'll be reading through my Bible and I'm like, it's here the whole time.
Yeah.
I just couldn't see it, or like, I didn't know, or we don't talk about this stuff in church. Like, why aren't we talking about this? And it's been here the whole time.
Yeah.
And like, I think you would agree. There's secondary issues like Nephilim, giants, like it's all secondary stuff, and it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. You might
it's not necessary for salvation.
Yeah, you might not be into it,
and
like it's not necessary for salvation. But for my faith, that it helps build my faith. And so when I like look into this stuff, and when I dive into the weird and the mysterious, strange, paranormal stuff, like for me, it helps to build my faith, because I can see the sovereignty of God above everything else, above all the chaos. He brings order to it, and all the kingdom of darkness is out there, like all of the different things and creatures and whatever is lurking in the shadows. Like, understanding that we're in this battle, like, and how that all comes together, and the part that I play in it, like, that is such a huge component of my faith, and it helps me like come even closer and draw even closer to God. And so I get fired up about it. I get passionate about it. I'm like,
it's good.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about this stuff. Like, that's where I'm at today. And, that has been a journey, and I can just see God interacting in my life and bringing me through everything that I've been through, because he had a plan the entire time. And, I've told you before, but like, God has taken my stupidity into account before he called me. And, Romans 5 or 8, Romans 5. I think it's 5. We'll double check. But while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And that just, when you really start to think about it, like, Christ died for us while we were still sinners. Everything points back to Jesus. So
absolutely, like at our absolute worst.
Yeah,
he still loved you even then.
Yeah, man. So that's a little bit of my story. So
that's good. So kind of went from religion to a relationship, right?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, because that's important. That's I think that's a lot of people's story. I think that's a lot of people's stories nowadays, because for whoever's fault it is, it's not one denomination kind of thing, but I think the focus has been it's turned into religion.
Mm-hmm.
Like Christianity has turned into a religion thing, but then that relationship has been lost.
Yeah.
And so you do the motions, you go by the things, you know, you get baptized when you get baptized. Like you said, you speak in tongues or whatever it is that your denomination does. Like you do the thing, because that's the religion. That's what you do. But then, like, the relationship is lost. And I think that's why a lot of people are deconstructing their Christianity, turning to the New Age thing, right? Because they come out, whether they're sheltered or whatever it is, they come out and they finally open up their eyes to the world around them and say, like, my tradition, my religion, my upbringing is in conflict with what I'm actually seeing in the world. So either it is wrong or the world is wrong, and the world is making a lot of sense. So I'm just going to throw out this whole thing and deconstruct everything and just believe whatever, you know. And I think that's the danger. Whatever denomination, if it sticks to the tradition thing and becomes a religion, I think that's the danger of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's like what's dangerous too is a lot of new age practices are just like lurking in the shadows, waiting for people to become like disgruntled and deconstruct their view of Christianity, and it's waiting right there to be like, hey, come check this out.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's all right. Like, yeah, you can, do this crystal ceremony in your house or howl at the new moon or whatever it is. Like, you know.
Open the bleed into the ground or whatever.
Yeah, burn some sage in your house. Like, whatever it is, it's like, hey, come check this out. And that's super dangerous because it opens up doors, and there's opportunities for entities to get in, and we definitely want to be aware of that. I think, just for me, man, like where I sit today in the tinfoil camper is like I don't really belong to any denomination or tradition. I'm sort of traditionally.
With like Heiser, traditionally agnostic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, traditionally agnostic.
You're Christian.
I'm a believer in God, and I'm a follower of the way. And like I could just see the things we have in common more than our differences, right? And so I think, like we talked about on the our first episode, was just whose side are you on? And the other things that we do with traditions and the other, things that denominations have, like, they're great. Like, if people like them, okay. Yeah. Like, I might not be into everything, but that's okay. Like, and so I just find myself in this ground of trying to understand the Bible in context. What does it say? How should I be living my life? How should I be following Jesus and his way? What am I doing to advance the kingdom and to push back against darkness? And I love to learn about different traditions or different perspectives, and I think it's all beneficial to have those conversations. But I don't think I would attach myself to a specific denomination. I think it's unfortunate that we find ourselves so divided. I think we're splitting hairs on a lot of stuff that those hairs don't need to get split. No. And it's kind of sad to see, honestly, and I don't know why it is that way. I don't know if that's just our flawed humanity. I'm just trying to understand the world around us through a biblical worldview, and understand the weird things and just talk about them. So,
yeah, I mean that's one big thing that I got from Heiser is the whole sons of God thing, and the fact that we are tied into that. We are now given the authority, or it's the authority or power or whatever it is, to become sons of God. And when you see everybody that way, it doesn't matter what denomination you are, it matters what God you follow. right?
Yeah.
What God you have loyalty with. You might have denominational differences where you do things a little bit different, and that's fine. I've grown up in churches where if you were of a different, even in a Baptist thing, if you were Southern Baptist, we wouldn't even have fellowship with you because you're Southern Baptist. You follow whatever. That is the most divisive religiosity, if that's even a word, just thing.
Yeah.
It is divisive. And that's not of God.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
Right? That's one reason I'm glad the church that I go to, like, we do things semi-interdenominationally. I messed that word up, but whatever. As long as we are following the same God and not on some other weird thing where we get to God through a back doorway through works or some other kind of thing, we will work with other churches because they are other sons and daughters of God. We are all in this together, working together. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And people get so tied up in the weeds. That's what I fight against, and that's my big. I don't know if you would call that the what's the thing? Your soapbox. Like
soapbox. Yeah.
That stuff drives me nuts. Yeah. Right, when people just they do that because I see the divisiveness in it. I know people that will not have communion with me because I go to a different church that believes the same thing. But, like, you can't have communion together. It's like, what in the world? Like that? You think we're going to have a bunch of little churches up in heaven? Keeping our little segregated little boxes. Like, I wouldn't want to go there.
I mean, I don't know, but I don't think so.
No! For pity's sakes. No.
Yeah, that would be something.
That would be.
Yeah, I think you're right. And it's unfortunate to see, like, certain individuals just like hold so tightly to that tradition that they can't they can't take communion with someone else, so they can't even like have a relationship with someone that may think just a little differently than they do about a certain thing, or like how is that loving our neighbor? You know, and you know, God calls us to love God and love people. And like if we're so stuck up in our specific tradition and like we do things this way, and if you deviate from them, you're not in our group.
Right.
Like you're out.
Right.
Well, yeah, but aren't we called to bring the news to all nations?
Yeah.
Right? So how do we do that if we're, you know, already cutting people out if they don't adhere to our specific set of how we do Christianity?
Right. It's inner fighting, which I think is a major, major tool of evil. Because if you can get everybody who says they're Christian to fight amongst themselves, then they're doing jack squat. You're not getting anything done, right? Where the fight should be out there. We, like you mentioned, either this time or the time before, like the gates of hell. Like that's who we're fighting, not each other. Shouldn't be each other. If we find ourselves fighting each other, well, we probably are looking in the wrong direction,
right?
You know.
Yeah. I mean, you and I go to different churches.
Yeah,
we're
not the same thing.
We have different denominations.
Yeah,
like
follow the same God, but
it's the same God.
church.
Yeah, and it just I think that's it, man. To me, it's that simple. Like we follow the same God. Okay, great. We're on the same side.
Yeah,
we're on the same side.
Yeah,
you know, like how many things in life can you do differently? Like what's the expression? There's 100 ways to skin a cat.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So like you can do all sorts of things in life in a different way than somebody else does it, but like that's okay. Like you're still on the same side. We're on the same team.
Yeah.
And the more disagreements we have, the more fighting we have, like that's just the enemy, like winning. And like it's just very obvious to me. Like that should not be the state of our church today. And it's unfortunate to see that, and so we'll see.
It's important to call out truth and to call out lies. That is very important. So if a whatever you want to call it, denomination or following whatever, if they're getting to God through a back door or some other way, that's where I would call it out, and that's where I would have an opposition against that kind of thing. Like I'll call it out Mormonism. They're not Christian. They follow a different God. Their Jesus is different. He's not the same. So I will have opposition against that because that's not the same God. They will call themselves Christians, but they're not. That's different than somebody saying, well, I'm going to baptize my baby because I'm consecrating it to God. Okay, that doesn't save the baby. I don't think they necessarily mean that saves the baby. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. If they think it does, well, the child later on grows up and makes a conscious decision to follow God or not follow God. That's the salvation. But if you want to baptize your baby We go up as Baptists and consecrate our kids, and I can't remember what they call it. You go up in front of church and you basically say that you are going to raise this kid and dedication, nurture and admonition of the Lord. There's no real difference, and I'll probably get kicked in the face by Baptists. There's no real difference between doing that and then dunking them water as a sign and not dunking them water as a sign. You're doing the same action. I'm not going to split fellowship with you because of something like that. But if you're following another God, I will split fellowship with you as far as that goes. I will still love you. Right? I will still want you to come back to the family of God, but I'm not going to be in the same kind of spiritual fellowship if you're serving a different God, even if you call the name Jesus, because a lot of people will do that, right? We're on the same page there? Right, yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, first off, we're called to love our enemies.
Yes.
Which is very hard to do.
Well, even in that, when we're called to love our enemies, it's more or less talking about the other humans, right?
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't love Satan.
No.
Right? But I think it gets mixed.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's the ideology that we hate the people that we love, right?
And right, everyone needs Jesus, right?
Yes.
So, like, you could be pick your religion. Whatever you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, we still love those people.
Absolutely.
Those people are still image bearers of God,
Absolutely.
right? Like, they bear His image, and they are welcomed, and they have access to be welcomed in the family of God.
They're just estranged children of God. They're your estranged siblings. You want them to come home.
I think we can agree to separate the belief system from the person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Just because you may have a XYZ religion person that you know does not mean that you cannot talk to them, you cannot communicate with them, you can't, have them over for dinner. Like, you can still be their friend. Like, how do we bring the gospel, right, the good news to all nations if we alienate people based on what they believe? Like, I think it's important to even understand where they're coming from. Like, understanding, like, I'll just say, like, Islam. Like, if you have a Muslim coworker, like, if you don't know anything about Islam, how are you ever going to relate to them? Like, you don't have to believe it, but you need to understand where they're coming from. Yeah. Because then you could be like, hey, this is what I believe, and maybe this is how you can try and understand who Jesus is, because you have an understanding of, like, where they're coming from. Like, why did they, what about this other religion is appealing to them? Like, maybe they're looking for answers that, just like I was, that I never knew existed in Christianity until, like, I was made aware of that. So, yeah, we have to love these people, engage with them. No idea where I was headed with this, but
that's why it's a conversation.
Loving God, love people. The awesome folks at Apologetics Canada, that is their tagline. So if you have not checked out their channel, check them out. Love God, love people. I love that, man. It's just so simple. That's what we're called to do.
Yeah.
And having an understanding of what we believe in the first place. Like, if you don't understand what you believe, like, how are you supposed to defend it? And how are you supposed to, like, share that with somebody else? If you're just like, Jesus died for your sins, what if somebody's like, why? Well, because He did. Right. Well, why? Like, why did He have to come here, become a human, and get crucified? And what? Like, if you don't have an understanding of that other person's just going to be left there like, well, okay, if you don't know, then why should I believe it?
Yeah.
And it doesn't become real for that person, then now you just missed an opportunity to share Jesus with someone because you don't actually, like, know what you believe. And I think that's at the, like, what we're trying to do and search for is, like, let's make this real. Let's get after it. Let's unpack it so we can then bring it to other people. And
absolutely. So. And even on the same kind of note, understanding what you believe, understanding that the Bible references stuff, the whole thing talking about other gods and other things, knowing that they're real. If you run across somebody who's either in, like, New Age stuff or in a completely different religion and they're happy, like, what are you going to do if they're happy? They feel content because they're getting something out of their religion, And you're like, well, you can come to Jesus and be happy. They're like, I am happy. I am fulfilled. I'm getting wealth, prosperity, happiness. I don't need your Jesus. Then what do you consider that? You either traditionally, like, you just call them out and say, well, that's a lie. You have a God-shaped hole in your heart that's not filled. Well, it's filled with a God. It's just not the God you worship, not the high God, not Yahweh. It's filled with one of these other gods that you mentioned in Psalm 82 that's been judged. And yeah, you can get things out of these other gods because they want you to not go to Yahweh. They want you to come to them. And unbeknownst to the people that follow them, you've chained yourself and tied yourself to a God that has been judged, who in the day of the Lord is going to be judged. And if you're tied to that thing, you're going to go along with it, right? Yeah. Which is that's something that is not really talked much about and referenced much about, that people can get quote unquote happiness or fulfillment out of life. I think they can, but it's temporal. It ends at their death. Yeah. That's the thing with following Christ, is it doesn't end at your death. It begins basically at death, because this life is so short, so seemingly insignificant, yet what happens here is it sets you up for the rest of eternity, whether with God or not. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to be with God. That's
absolutely.
Sure. And like that, I think that's a really good point about just deception and the counterfeit nature of the kingdom of darkness. Like, no demonic entity is going to lure you in with like, I'm going to kill and enslave you. That anyone would say no to that immediately. Right. That's not how it works. Like, you're gonna get lured in with like good feelings and like happiness and things like that, and then later on down the road, once you're really in it, then it's gonna switch to enslavement and death.
Once they rope you in and get you there,
But that's what it's deception. So it's really important just to be aware of that, to be alert of that, especially on days like today. But yeah,
that's good.
All right, I think that will do it for episode 2. Let's see. Looking forward, we are gonna talk about some paranormal stuff, some supernatural stuff. We just wanted to bring you guys in and share our stories with you, our testimonies, where God has brought us from, where and where we're at now today, and be able to share that with you, so you know a little bit about us. We'll be shifting a little bit. We'll get into some weird stories, some supernatural things. If there's something that you guys want to talk about, drop it in the comments, and we can build an episode around that. But we got anything else for this one?
I think that's it. I think we hit it.
Awesome.
They know who you are. They know who I am.
Yeah.
We want to know who you are.
Yeah.
So let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time in the Tinfoil Kingdom.